So last week I flew all the way to Germany for Gamescom. And for those of you who don't know, this is the largest gaming convention in Europe. And not only was the entire experience absolutely wild, as I ended up streaming City Skylines 2 from a literal crane above the ground, and helped set a brand new Guinness World Record with Sky, Children of the Light, it was also absolutely filled with cozy games. Not only did Nintendo themselves have an entire section in the convention, but there was also an absolutely huge indie game section as well. So here's my top pick of cozy games I found at Gamescom. Now first up we have Fashion Dreamer. Now, although this isn't a new game to talk about on my channel, this was actually the very first time I got to play it. As although Nintendo's area was a little bit lackluster, as most of the games on display had actually already come out and I've already played, but thankfully they did have this. Now, Fashion Dreamer is easily one of the games I am the most excited for coming to the Switch this year, and playing it only made me more excited. This is a game all about designing outfits. Not only for yourself, but also for your clients as well. But the thing that really excited me about Fashion Dreamer were all of the online functions. Because as you're playing the game yourself, you'll be able to see avatars of other players and you'll be able to interact and like their outfits. And the more people who like your outfit, the further your avatar will spread across the globe. Now, as always with Nintendo games, it's the online functions that give me a little bit of concern. But thankfully, after playing the online mode, I can say that it really did play well. Despite the fact that I was playing with other people, it didn't feel laggy or even take too long to load. And actually, I was really surprised by not only how good the game looked, but also how detailed the characters were, and each of the clothing outfits as well. Because with over 1,400 different items to collect in the game, I really didn't think each of the pieces of clothing was gonna look this good. Overall, I am really impressed with what I've seen so far, and it makes me so excited to play it later on in November. Next up, we have Moonlight Peaks. Now this to me was the standout game in Gamescom, as after playing the demo, this exceeded every one of my expectations for the game. And although we've had a lot of farming sims come up on the Switch recently, this is unlike anything we've seen before. Because in Moonlight Peaks, you play as a vampire. So that means you wake up when the sun has set and you go to bed when the sun rises. And not only can you customize your vampire to look however you want, your vampire can also transform into different animals as well. Now the demo only showed us transforming into a bat, but the devs did say that there was also going to be a wolf transformation as well. And if that already doesn't sound magical enough, you can even brew potions and also cast spells as well. But the best part about Moonlight Peaks is that you're not the only supernatural being around. The surrounding town is filled with werewolves, witches, mermaids, and more, with friendships and relationships seeming to be a large focus of the game. But it's not only the people in the town who are supernatural, as the crops are as well. The one thing I didn't expect though when I played the demo was how good the decorating tools were going to be. This is kind of reminiscent of the Animal Crossing Happy Home Paradise mechanics, which made decorating not only easy, but an awful lot of fun, and I fell in love with the items as well. Now, Moonlight Peaks doesn't actually have a release date yet, but what we do know is that it's definitely coming to the Nintendo Switch. And although I've played a lot of farming sims recently, this one has really caught my eye, and I think it's going to be fantastic. Next, we have Go-Go Town. Now, we have spoken about Go-Go Town before, but when I met the developers at Gamescom, I discovered a whole lot more is being added to the game. Now, this was already one of my most anticipated releases for 2024, and after speaking to the developers, I am even more excited. The way I like to describe the game is that it's Animal Crossing New Leaf if the role of mayor actually meant something, because you take over a rundown tourist destination as mayor and try and bring it back to its former glory. And Go-Go Town is truly the coziest management sim I have ever played, because not only do you get to choose where you place each of the different buildings, like houses, shops, and facilities, you're also in charge of the entire production line. So not only do you need to convince people to move into your town by giving them a house to live in and fulfilling some of the criteria, you then need to set them to work. This can be in any of the buildings you've built, or things like farming, fishing, mining, and more. Then once you've hired the workers to work in the farms and the restaurants, you then need to figure out how to move the food between them. And to do that, you set up a courier service to move the food from the farm to the restaurant so the chefs can cook it. But the management systems don't stop there. You're also in charge of all of the services as well. So you'll see yourself setting up buildings like garbage disposal buildings, and even making your own town mascot. And not only have they added the ability to place your own paths, but they've also given us the ability to terraform as well. I was also lucky enough to be able to demo the co-op mode as well when I was in Gamescom, so not only can you play online with friends, but there's also going to be split screen co-op as well, which was chaotic but so much fun. And the best part is, I think they're having another playtest sometime soon, so if you have a PC or a Steam Deck, you'll be able to have a sneak peek of the game very soon. Next up is Paper Trail. This is another game I have been wildly excited for since I saw it at the Nintendo Direct, but I just got news that it should be coming in the beginning of 2024. This is a top-down puzzle adventure where you solve puzzles by folding the pages, trying to help Paige on her journey to leave her home for the first time to pursue her studies. Honestly, it's so impressive to see how varied these puzzles are with such a simple concept. And by the sounds of it, each area of the game kind of has its own puzzle theme to it. It's definitely one of those puzzle games that takes your brain a bit of time to get into, but once you've figured it out and get it down, it's so much fun to play. I think for me though, the thing that captivated me the most was the art style. I think this game looks absolutely stunning and I can't wait to play it sometime next year. Then we have Tiny Bookshop. This is a narrative management game where you leave everything behind to set up a tiny bookshop by the sea. And honestly, this game is such a vibe. This will see you travel to picturesque locations as you run your very own bookshop. But there's way more to this game than just stocking books. Each day that your store is open, you're visited by the locals, who in time you not only get to know their wants when it comes to reading, but also start to learn all about them. And in doing this, you can stock your shop with what the locals want to read. But the way you interact with each of these locals will shape not only the town story, but also your own as well. I'm in love with this mix between narrative storytelling, management aspects, but also the ability to decorate your entire store, both inside and outside. And the nice part is the decorative items actually boost certain aspects of your store, not only giving them a purpose, but also making you make decisions about what items you want to have out. And although there's no news on if this is coming to the Switch, I really truly hope so, because this will be the perfect game to play in bed. Next up is Quilts and Cats of Calico. Now this caught my eye the second I saw it in the Nintendo Direct, purely because of the cats. And having played it on the Nintendo Switch, I can say it is such a good game. This is a cozy board game centered around trying to make a quilt from pattern fabric scraps. And by doing the right combination of colors and patterns, you can score different amounts of points and try and beat the up to 3 other players you're against. Now, I'm not the biggest board game person, but once I got the hang of it, this was actually a lot of fun. But of course, the best part to me was the cats. Certain combos of tiles would attract different cats, and you should have seen my face when I discovered you can make your very own cat. And the thing I enjoyed the most about this is, although you can make a realistic looking cat and even model it off of your own, you can also make the most ridiculous cats as well, with bright colors, wild patterns, and even accessories. This cat you then make will randomly show up when you're playing the game as well. And I love the fact that although you can play this with friends and family, there's also a story mode as well that's inspired by the works of Studio Ghibli. In this, you travel to a war-stricken world and try and stand up to the ruthless corporation that threatens your guild. I'm not sure we have an exact release date yet, but now I've played it, I'm actually really excited for it. Then we have Fishbowl. Now, I had never heard of this game till Gamescom, but this was honestly such a fun demo to play. This is truly a cozy game with a little bit of a difference. This is a coming-of-age story told over the course of a single month. And it's the tale of Aloe, a 21-year-old woman living in a new city by herself after bagging herself a brand new job. And it truly is a beautiful story about living in isolation, friendships, and understanding and living with grief after the passing of her grandmother. I personally love this mix between the narrative storytelling and the little mini games, be it of her chores or her job of editing videos. And this really did have the feeling of a game that could be truly special. Then we have Solarpunk, which I believe has just ended on Kickstarter, and although we only had the trailer available at Gamescom, it really did catch my eye. This is a cozy survival game based on a world filled with floating islands, and you can play this either by yourself or with your friends. This sees you construct buildings, grow food, craft gadgets, and explore the distant islands in your airship. And the nice part is, as you progress, you can use sunlight, wind, and water to generate energy. And you'll be able to automate your entire farming process, which I personally love, as this allows you to go and explore as much as you want and not have to worry about your farm. Although it is a while away from being developed, it has already been confirmed that it'll be coming to the Switch, so I'm very excited to see what comes of this game. Then we have Planetiles. Planetiles? Planetiles? I don't know how to say it, there's only one T, I am confused. But anyway, this was such a fun little demo to play. This is a cute tile-based city builder, where you can cultivate and grow different biomes on the world. And if you're strategic with your tile placement, you'll even earn bonuses such as new skins and customization options as well. There's 3 different planet sizes to play on, and there's also no end to the game whatsoever. So you can literally play this chill game for however long you want. Personally, I just fell in love with the look of the game and the fact that this is a very chill version of a city builder, which whilst I do love that genre, can be incredibly stressful. Then we have Cove. Now this is very early on in development, so I don't think they've confirmed any of the platforms yet, but they did have a very cute little demo on display at Gamescom. This is a cute life sim that sees you rebuild a neglected town, and it's up to you to bring shops and community spaces back by scavenging and repurposing trash you find on the island. The thing that made this really stand out to me though is how there was so much to explore, as this is actually an open world game. So not only do you have the whole land that you live on to explore, but also both above and below the oceans as well. But at no point is this overwhelming though, because you can take this completely at your own pace and enjoy the relaxing island life while you're at it. Those are my top picks from Gamescom, but if you want to see all the upcoming games for September, click this video here.